Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great weekend overall, man. I figured I'd tap in with y'all to currently discuss what's going on in the boxing world, man. We're gonna talk about Keith Thurman versus Vergil Ortiz rumors and exactly how legit that may be. And if that were to happen, what are our thoughts on that situation? And of course, we're gonna get into the Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith fight, basically being confirmed through Ring Magazine's website as well for November 22nd on a huge card that Turkey Al-Sheikh is putting together out in Saudi Arabia. Then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the building thus far. If you could go ahead and hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. You see what I'm saying? We're on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,100 mark. Shout out to the nation in the mouth for making this possible. You see what I'm saying? Hope everybody's feeling extremely well. Just woke up from a good nap, man. Can't complain at all. I was definitely exhausted. But I'm feeling pretty good now. So, you know what I mean? I can't complain at all, man. I hope everybody is doing okay, especially your families. Steera Hook says Keyshawn Davis is a criminal. He's up to no good. God damn, man. You gotta be all that. Sheesh. He's a straight up criminal, huh? Sheesh. I got fucking soap sud in my ear. Damn. These niggas, he's a criminal. Shit, okay. Ghost 787 says, yo, bless everyone in the chat and their families like always, Mark. Also, bless your home and family always. I appreciate that, Ghost. Thank you very much, man. Hope everything is well with you and yours. You know what I mean? It's always good to get those blessings from the supporters, you feel what I mean? From the subs, from the nation, you feel me? Pagat Petit says, what you think about Beterbiev versus Najee Lopez? That definitely caught me off guard. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if that's something that's being finalized, or is there something that's just being talked about for the moment? But I was kind of confused initially because, you know, I'm thinking we're about to see the trilogy with Bivol, you know, next. You see what I mean? But apparently the fight's not happening until 2026. From what I've been told. So because of that, I guess Beterbiev, considering his age, he doesn't want to be out too long before the Bivol fight. You know what I mean? So I guess he wants to get at least a good warm-up in. Najee Lopez is somebody that's on the come-up right now. Not experienced on a, you know, world level as of right now. He definitely has a lot of promise. But this may be a situation where he's biting off more than he could chew. I'm not going to lie to you. You feel what I'm saying? You know, Najee Lopez is 14-0. He got a high knockout ratio, got 11 knockouts. But when you look through his resume, he hasn't really fought anybody to make me believe that, you know, a fight with, you know, Beterbiev would be competitive. You know what I mean? Unless Beterbiev just completely slipped. You know, this is a 25-year-old Najee Lopez, an inexperienced Najee Lopez that hasn't really fought at an elite level yet. So, you know, I'm definitely going to go study. If this is a fight that's truly being confirmed, I'm going to definitely do some research. I'm going to look at what he brings to the table. I saw Brian Norman put his stamp on him, probably because they're both from Georgia and things like that. They probably have a good relationship in boxing or outside of boxing. And he said, y'all going to learn about the South. Y'all going to learn about the South. So you know, in Brian Norman's mind, you know, he believes in Najee Lopez. So, you know, that could be just because they homies or whatever the case is. But I'm going to do some research on Najee Lopez, see what he may present that could be a problem for Artur Beterbiev, and then I'll make my, you know, I'll create an assessment from there. You feel what I mean? But definitely caught me off guard. You know what I mean? This is somebody in Najee Lopez who, from what I've seen, hasn't even beat like a legit contender in the light heavyweight division. You feel what I mean? So how does he just skip from, you know, skipping contenders and, you know, quality opponents to just jumping straight into an Artur Beterbiev fight? To me, this looks like a tune-up that Artur Beterbiev is attempting to get by right now. You know what I mean? But, you know, we'll see exactly how that works out. 1 year anniversary since Bud Matrimov. Damn. Really? Yo, these years be flying, bro. I swear, bro. That felt like that wasn't even that long ago. Sheesh. But, yeah, I mean, another way of saying that is 1 year since Terrence Crawford has fought. And how will the inactivity from Terrence Crawford affect him during this fight with Canelo Alvarez, who just fought in May against William Skull. You know what I mean? That's definitely something to take into consideration when making these predictions. You feel what I'm saying? Or, analyzing fights. Inactivity can be a thing, especially when you up in age. But Terrence Crawford has been able to show that thus far, ring rust isn't really something that plagues his performances. You see what I mean? Let me see. How's my Sunday coffee? Everything's well, bro. Everything's well. It was a regular day. You know what I mean? I just kicked in with my son all morning, and throughout the afternoon, I dropped him off with his peoples, with his mom's side or stuff like that. Came home. Well, I did training sessions early in the morning. I brought my son with me. He was running all up and down the gym, getting his work in, getting his road work in. Stopped by my mom crib real quick with my son. Did like I did some quick errands around the crib, cleaned the crib, laundry. Sundays are probably one of my most productive days throughout the week. You know what I mean? So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I hope everything's well with you, Coffee. What you was getting into, Coffee? Just chilling? Go 787. What up? Des 22 in the building. What up? How we feeling? How we feeling? We about to get into this conversation, man, because I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of it's just reports. You know what I mean? That's why, in the comment I put rumor, you know what I mean? Because this ain't solidified. This is just simply talk at the moment. I don't even know exactly how credible this source is that put out this information, but in boxing, we get a lot of bullshit sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you. We definitely get some bullshit. And a good amount of what we see don't even come to reality. So I'm not gonna just jump off, I'm not gonna jump off the deep end and just be like, oh yeah, man, this is definitely happening now. We not one of those type channels, you feel me? So let me go ahead and share this for everybody to see. All right. Stereo Hook, he said, happy you and your mom cook. A lot of people beefing with their parents. Yeah, that is a common theme from what I've seen, like with friends that I have and, things of that nature. Yeah, I've never been the one to beef with neither one of my parents. You know what I mean? We could have disagreements and, things could get frustrating at times. There may be an argument. You know what I'm saying? But, I would never let that hinder the relationship that I have with my parents because, for one, you only have parents once. You know what I mean? There's nobody that could ever take their place. You know what I mean? Those are the people that, when you come into this world, love you unconditionally. You know what I mean? So they're irreplaceable. You could replace a lot of people. You could replace a lot of things in this world. One thing you can't replace is a mother or a father. You know what I'm saying? You could try. You could say that this person's your father. You could try to say that this one's your mother, but the reality is, you came into this world with one mother and a father that, is the reason why you're here right now. You feel me? So I have a relationship with both parents. Thank God. This nigga said, "How close are you and your mom?" I don't know why you want me to get into specifics, but we cool. Definitely cool. We got a great relationship. That's a new page, y'all. So keep your eyes on that page. That's a new channel. I can tell. You just start coming around, you asking all these personal questions. Yeah, I mean, keep your eye on that channel, y'all. We got some weird. I'm not calling you that. I'm not gonna jump out the window and assume. But we be having some weird trolls on here that be trying to play close, and whole time they be weirdos. So, but shout out to the boxing man. You know what I mean? One of the people on Twitter that I follow to keep me informed of what's going on in the boxing world, and he comes out with this tweet right here. You know what I mean? I think my screen's black right now, but I think it should pop up. But in the meantime, while it's processing or whatever the case is, the report states Keith Thurman versus Vergil Ortiz and Frank Martin versus Arnold Barboza are in the works for a date in October. It will be a PBC versus Golden Boy Promotions event if all is finalized. Hashtag boxing, hashtag Ortiz Thurman. And the credit behind this is what's this guy's name? I don't know exactly who this guy is at all. To be honest with you, I don't know if he's a boxing reporter or what. This is a Hispanic that's followed by some people that are also in tune with the sport of boxing. So he says, my opinions are mine and nobody else's. Okay. Yeah, I don't know too much about this dude, but this guy might just be a boxing reporter that got some sources or whatever the case is. But look, that's the situation. That's the situation, man. So that's what it's looking like, man. I don't know how credible this is. So, you know what I mean? Don't slaughter me if this comes out to be false or whatever it is. This is simply just a rumor. Now, I'm going to say this. I did hear Frank Martin do an interview with Champside. You know, shout out to Champside for the content and keeping us informed of what's going on with Frank Martin. Frank Martin said that he would love to come back between September to October. You see what I'm saying? So, the date seems to be on track for what Frank Martin has said in his previous interview that just dropped like yesterday. You see what I'm saying? So this may be something that's realistic just based off of the date. You know, I don't see a day in particular. I'm assuming it's not going to be on October 11th because supposedly that's when Jerron Ennis is supposed to be making his return to the Wells Fargo, according to Josh Kelly's team. You know, so I guess one of the weekends in October, this may be going down. And, you know, this is a fight that in terms of Vergil Ortiz versus Keith Thurman, this is a fight that I probably would have never requested. I probably would have never requested in the first place. You see what I mean? I would have never had thought, especially back at 147, because Vergil Ortiz was still an upcoming prospect. You know what I mean? And Keith Thurman, he was a bit inactive at 147. You already know that. But even when he was a world champion, Vergil Ortiz was nobody that the people really demanded Keith Thurman to face. But now that Vergil Ortiz is like definitely one of the top contenders in the division, and Keith Thurman is a former unified world champion at 47 and looking to make his name at 154, it's definitely a good fight to be made. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a dangerous fight for both guys. You know, on Vergil Ortiz's side, this could be dangerous for him because, you know, Keith Thurman, he is a smaller guy moving up in weight. However, this is somebody who has, you know, a plethora of experience in the ring. And to be honest with you, this may be the most experienced fighter that Vergil Ortiz has faced to date. You know what I'm saying? This is something that could be the toughest test for Vergil Ortiz as of right now. Keith Thurman, he is injury prone. You know what I mean? He was supposed to get in the ring with Tim Tszyu, but, you know, he had I think like he tore his bicep and he wasn't able to return. He wasn't able to make that fight happen. So since then, he's beat Brock Jarvis, who, you know what I mean, is a low quality opponent from Australia in all honesty. But, you know, he popping his shit. You know, he been coming out to these events, and, you know, he was on FaceTime arguing with Jamel Charlo. You know, he talking crazy about Jerron Ennis, and, you know, he's looking to make these fights. You know what I mean? He said, if you could beat me, blah, blah, you know, his typical, you know, sayings and things like that. So maybe a Vergil Ortiz fight is something that Keith Thurman is interested in. There was moments throughout, you know, even though I thought Vergil Ortiz handled Mazuma pretty easily, I seen Mazuma give me some fits in some situations. So maybe Keith Thurman looked at that and be like, oh, well, maybe I could have some success with the type of movement that I display in the ring. With my ring generalship, maybe I could get Vergil Ortiz to maybe I could frustrate Vergil Ortiz and I could outbox him, you know, and if Vergil Ortiz get a little bit out of pocket, I got enough power being one time and getting his respect in the ring. Maybe he just feels like he's the more experienced guy. He probably sees Vergil Ortiz as somebody that's dangerous, but doesn't have the IQ that he has, doesn't have the experience that he has. And this experience wasn't really at 154, but nonetheless, this is an experienced fighter. You see what I mean? So I see what I could possibly. I mean, if this is something that's real, I could see Keith Thurman thinking in that way. But this is dangerous for Keith Thurman because this is Vergil's not a big. I mean, Vergil is a big kid. You feel what I mean? He has a great he has great volume on his side. He always comes to be in great shape, and he could fucking punch, especially to the body. And we've known that although Keith Thurman has never been stopped to the body, you know what I mean? I've never even seen him going down to the body, to be honest with you. He gets hurt to the body quite frequently. There's been a list of fighters that have hurt Keith Thurman to the body, whether we talking about Luis Collazo, most infamously, Manny Pacquiao, Luis Collazo, Manny Pacquiao. I seen Mario Barrios hurt him to the body. I even seen a moment where I believe Sean Porter hurt him to the body because of how he retreated after the body shot. Keith Thurman has shown it seems to be like his kryptonite. I don't know if it was because of those weight cuts he had to get down to 47 or he just has a weak core. I don't know, but I could see how Vergil could have success in that fight as well, just being the stronger, bigger fighter. You know what I mean? That happens to be okay with letting the clip go and actually trusting his conditioning. And he may be able to overwhelm Keith Thurman with pressure. We've seen Sean Porter have success with effectively applying pressure on Keith Thurman, even though he lost to Keith Thurman. Sean Porter had success in spots where he was giving Keith Thurman fits. So this is a fight where both guys can have success. I don't actually mind the fight at all if Vergil Ortiz can't get a title shot in his next fight. You see what I mean? But this is a fight that definitely came out of left field. This is something that I definitely didn't anticipate. But if this fight were to be made in October, PBC versus Golden Boy type card, I wouldn't be mad at all. I definitely wouldn't be mad at all, man. This is a dangerous fight for both guys. And, if they're able to, establish themselves in the fight, then they could pull it off. I can see ways that both guys could win. Anonymous said, I don't trust Thurman. He's a duck and diva. Most of the time, I don't see that main event happening. I definitely understand that. Keith Thurman has shot himself in the foot throughout the entire course of his career with turning down opponents, turning down fights, and even like turning down the idea of fights. I remember he did an interview blatantly admitting that he refused to fight during COVID. Why? Not because he was afraid that he may get sick or contract this virus and possibly get his family sick as well and put them in a dangerous predicament. No, it was because he didn't like the idea of fighting with no crowd. Because y'all remember during the pandemic, they had people fighting in pretty much rooms with no audience. And to Keith Thurman, that was the most boring thing ever. So he turned down fighting during the pandemic and just lost he lost time that he's not able to get back. So Keith Thurman has definitely shown diva moments. He's definitely shown to be hard to work with business-wise. And I think that's exactly why Keith Thurman's career, outside of him being injury prone, why he wasn't able to, take it to that next level. He did some good things. He beat some quality guys, but he didn't really. I still would like to. I mean, he was a unified world champion, but I like to think that he kind of underachieved. He had the world at his feet after that win against Danny Garcia, and then completely lost momentum. Completely lost momentum and all of that. And since then, he hasn't been able to really get that moment back. You see what I mean? But, like I said, this is merely just a rumor. Followed along with Frank Martin versus Arnold Barboza. You know what I mean? Frank Martin, he hasn't fought in a good amount of time since being knocked out by Gervonta Davis. And, Arnold Barboza, took the first loss of his career back in May to Teofimo Lopez. So these are guys that are both coming off of losses. Frank Martin is a lot more inactive than Arnold Barboza at this point, but this is a good competitive scrap right here. Frank Martin, I classify him as a stepper. You know what I mean? He's definitely an intelligent fighter. He's had some really good performances that, I still look back and watch to this day. I love the Michelle Rivera performance. I love the damn, damn, what the hell was his name? Duno. Love the Duno performance. He's definitely rose to the occasion several times, in these come up fights. I even like the Artem fight, to be honest with you, even though he didn't perform the best. He showed me who he was in that fight. He showed me he was a dog in that fight. You feel me? And Arnold Barboza, he a dog too. He came up short against Teofimo Lopez, but he's picked up some quality wins. Like I think he went over to enemy territory to defeat Jack Catterall. He's done some things. You feel what I'm saying? So Arnold Barboza, he's been looking to prove that he's amongst the best in his division. He was definitely on a journey to become world champ. And he even beat a former unified world champion. And why am I forgetting all these fucking people's names? Jose Ramirez. You see what I mean? So this is a great quality fight right here. Frank Martin versus Arnold Barboza. I think that Frank Martin is the more athletic fighter. I think that he has the faster. I think he's quicker. I think it's I just think all around the board, I think that Frank Martin is the better athlete. You see what I mean? So that could definitely play a part. And to be honest with you, he's the bigger puncher as well. So he got some good things going for him in this Arnold Barboza fight. But Arnold Barboza is experienced at this point. I think it's safe to say he could definitely box. And if Frank Martin sits there and tries to, play chess with him or whatever, then he's leaving it up in the air for it to be a 50-50 type of fight. You know what I mean? We got to see Frank Martin be aggressive. We got to see him punching combinations. And he can't allow Arnold Barboza to dictate the pace of the fight whatsoever. So Frank Martin has to be consistent with being the aggressor, you know what I mean? And letting his hands go, to be honest with you. I think you got to keep Arnold Barboza on the defense. But this is a fight that I definitely see Frank Martin winning. You know what I mean? This is a fight I could definitely see him winning. I do think that Frank Martin is that talented. However, we got to see how he bounced back from a mental aspect, in terms of being knocked out by Gervonta Davis. It seems like he's in great spirits. It seems like he's confident in his abilities. But how the way you act outside of the ring and how you perform inside of the ring are two totally different things. You know what I mean? I've seen people who were tremendously talented get knocked out, and then they come into the ring, and you could tell that they in their head. You know what I mean? They just worried about getting hit with a shot. They become gunshot. They scared to take risk, and they end up putting up terrible performances as a result of them being in their own minds, like just psyching themselves out. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll see exactly how Frank Martin bounces back. I say all the time that a lot of this boxing shit is mental. So if Frank Martin has, the resiliency necessary to, come back and act like his last fight didn't happen and just be the ghost, be who he truly is, I think he could beat Arnold Barboza. I really could see this happening. T said Barboza is trash. He definitely not trash. You're not beating guys like Jack Catterall, who was a top contender at 140 at the time, after beating y'all give Teofimo Lopez so much credit for beating Josh Taylor. Okay. Jack Catterall may have possibly, not technically he didn't, but in my mind, he's the first one to beat Josh Taylor, who was a former undisputed champion at 140. You're not trash beating Josh Taylor, especially rematching him and beating him again. You're not trash. You're not trash beating Jose Ramirez, who was a former unified champion at 140 pounds. You're just not trash doing that. And plus, fucking Arnold Barboza was the number one contender in the WBO for I don't know how long. I was on here saying that T.O. was ducking Barboza for a good amount of time. And he was. You know what I mean? He ended up fighting him and beating him, so I give him credit for that. But I remember not too long ago how he begged somebody within the top ranked team to not let Arnold Barboza get in the ring and call him out. Oh, don't put me in the ring with that bum. Oh, don't put me in the ring with that bum. Why? Like, why? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Barboza is definitely not trash. And just because you're not a fan of him don't mean that he's trash neither. Those guys I'm not fans of, but I respect their hand. You feel me? So I disagree with that, Teach. the performance with Jack wasn't good. Both guys did terrible. He lost to the Irishman, and he did bad with Jose Ramirez too. How could you say he did bad with both of those guys? You saying that he did bad with all three of those guys, but he beat them. Those three guys you mentioned, he beat both of them. He beat all three of them. The Irish one, I know what you're talking about. You talking about the Sean McComb fight. His name like Sean McComb? I remember that one. That was a little iffy bout. It was an iffy bout, but you know what I mean? He went on to beat Jack. He went on to beat Jose Ramirez, bro. You know what I mean? You could discredit the wins. You know what I mean? But come on, man. The reality is he beat him. You feel me? No, anyways. I like both of these fights. I like the fact that PBC has been considering working with other promotional companies and not just keeping things in-house all the time. I remember I heard a report not too long ago that PBC and Top Rank going to be working together to make some fights happen. I remember Oscar De La Hoya stating on the record that he would like to work with the PBC and make some big fights happen. So I definitely think that this is something that PBC needs. You know, they haven't been doing so well just working alone from my observation. Look like they not really putting much money into these events like they used to. I don't know if it's because of their lack of a network pushing them. I don't know what the case is, but one thing I do know is that them collaborating with other promoters could possibly get them back on the right track to being the big network or being the big company that they used to be. Because PBC used to be the shit. Man, I loved PBC. I loved what they did. And I have my experiences with PBC, personally. We had a fighter that was working with PBC at the time, Tifo Burlton, who I just seen this past Friday, man. Shout out to Tifo Burlton, man. I think he just got ranked in the WBA at light heavyweight. And people talking about Najee Lopez and all that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Atif is a different animal, bro. Definitely one of the best fighters that I've ever seen in the gym. Like, he's top three best fighter that I've ever seen in the gym. It's like Boots, Raymond Ford, and Atifo Burlton, probably the best fighters that I've seen with my own eyes, like, perform in the gym, bro. Like, it's really like that. Yeah, Atif has alopecia. So, yeah, he's had that for a good amount of time. But that kid, Atif, is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm telling you, when he gets his moment, he's going to fight soon. But when he gets his moment, a lot of people are going to be talking about him. He's a very fan-friendly type of fighter. Flashy. He got power. He could box. Great defense. He tall, but he a tall 6'3", 6'4" southpaw, but he go to the body. Great finishing ability. He actually about to fight. He about to fight in Bethlehem. What is it, September or August? I think he fighting in September at the Wayne Creek. So that's going to be a good job. I might make it out for that. I ain't going to lie to you. But anyways, if this rumor is real, I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure. And plus, Keith Thurman need to get his old ass up off that rocking chair and do something anyway. If you're gonna be active, do some shit while you active. Stop popping and shit, acting like motherfuckers is ducking you when you was at the peak, when you was at the height of your powers, you ain't want to give nobody any opportunities. You know what I mean? You was trying to play Earl Spence like he was like a young one to block, and how. You know what I mean? He didn't really do anything to deserve a fight with you. And then, when you down bad and Earl Spence at the top of the division, now you begging for an opportunity. Oh, you beat all these guys, but you ain't beat me, son. You ain't beat me, son. The reason why he ain't beat you, son, is because you ain't give him a fucking opportunity, you fucking nut. Oh, Derek said, yeah, he fights September 5th. Oh, all right. Salute to the maestro. Shout out to Derek, the maestro Moore, man. Loco the Maestro. You feel me? We got some big plans for Derek Moore as well. You feel what I mean? We definitely gonna get this show on the road. We gonna see Derek Moore in the pro ranks in due time. And when he gets to the pros, woo wee, shit gonna be heated. Shit gonna be heating up over there, boy. Mm-hmm. Marky Dan, what up? You disappeared on me. My fault. You disappeared on me after that Xander Zayas performance, man. You was talking hella shit about Xander. We was waiting for you to come on to admit that you was wrong. And you ain't never come back around, Marky Dan. So you need to speak your piece, brother. You gotta speak. Don't be ducking the smoke, cuz you was talking, oh, he gonna rip the back pockets off of Xander. No. So where you at, cuz? Where you at? You gotta speak. Shy Rider, West Sider, what up? Shy Rider said, how you feel about this weekend scraps with Regis and Duarte? I did not get the chance to watch the Regis and JoJo Diaz fight in its entirety. I got you, Ghost. Give me 1 second. Faith over fear, absolutely. It's one of my favorite shirts. That's why I wear it all the time. But anyways, I did not get to watch the Regis fight in its entirety, but I seen that JoJo Diaz hit him with a left hook, and he did a little stanky leg. You know what I mean? Had to go, let me get my feet together. One of them type Jones. But he showed dog. You know what I mean? They fought through and through, from what I understand, and Regis pulled it off. But I heard some people say that JoJo Diaz got robbed. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I gotta watch the fight, but I'm gonna reserve my opinion because I'm not gonna sit here and act like I saw the whole thing. Now, Oscar Duarte versus Kenneth Sims. I thought Kenneth Sims had the tools necessary to outbox Oscar Duarte, man. He had a beautiful jab. He had great movement, and whenever he was on his toes and keeping Duarte at the end of his jab, he frustrated Duarte, and Duarte could not get to him. But when he decided to stay in the pocket too long and decided to fight Duarte's fight, which in my opinion showed a little bit of a lack of experience and IQ on Kenneth Sims' part, it fell into Duarte's favor. I had Duarte up 7-5, but it was disappointing to me in all honesty because I knew that all Kenneth Sims had to do was stay consistent behind what he was doing in the initial in the beginning rounds, and he would have won quite easily. But you know what I mean? This is a learning experience for Kenneth Sims. You know what I mean? He got to go back to the drawing board to understand who he is as a fighter and not, you know, trying to appeal to fans or trying to prove something by fighting another fighter style. You know what I mean? Like that's just not smart. You know what I mean? That's not what boxing should be. Boxing should be, you know, utilizing your strengths and in the process of neutralizing your opponent's strengths. You feel what I'm saying? But you know, so learn a lesson, and I think Kenneth Sims will come back from this a lot better. You feel what I mean? Just my personal opinion. Definitely wasn't a robbery though. But let me answer Ghost's last question. You said, Mark, I don't get why Vergil is not going for Fundora or a champ. He's interim champ over a year now. I was talking about Errol and now Keith. What is going on? What are your thoughts? I have no idea. From the last tweet that I heard Vergil Ortiz put out, he's making it seem like he's being exempt of these opportunities. You know, he was saying that, you know, his last fight with Mazuma should have been for the WBO. But he said for some reason, he feels like the WBO is being held for somebody, a.k.a. Xander Zayas. So if you let Vergil Ortiz tell it, it seems like he's looking for those opportunities to become world champion. But for some reason, the politics of boxing is not aligning with him being a world champion at this point in time. So I don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. I see that they don't got no problem putting him in there with some quality opposition like Bohachuk and Majumov. But for some reason, you know, he hasn't been able to get that world title shot yet, like that. To get to that final level, it just seems like they holding him back. It's almost like some, you know, like it's like you beating quality dudes, but you're not beating them at the right time. Like, all right, you beat Majumov, but you beat Majumov after Terrence Crawford got the belt off of him. You feel what I'm saying? So I just think timing is very important in the sport of boxing, and timing just hasn't been on Vergil Ortiz's side. Just hasn't. You said Regis won easily versus JoJo. I was hearing people say that JoJo beat him. But like I said, I didn't see it, so I can't call it. Shout out to Southwest Dice. Hold on. Let me mute this real quick. I'm gonna blow my nose, y'all. But yeah, y'all, he said Regis didn't win easily. Steer Hook says curate of the PED. What are you talking about? JoJo hurt Regis multiple times, and Regis was jabbing him beautifully. I think that's the first time that I've seen Regis like visibly hurt. And that's pretty concerning because JoJo Diaz was never looked at as like, in my opinion, as like this big puncher. You know what I mean? So I don't know if Regis is at a point right now where like he's completely like on a decline and now like his punch resistance is starting to follow through with the decline. If that's the case, Regis need to go ahead and just stop, man. You know, Regis even know that he ain't got it anymore because, you know, after he had lost to Jack Catterall, he was talking about doing bare knuckle and, you know, all this other shit. And it's like, Regis. Then you like, oh, bro, I was thinking that I was in the moment, but, you know, I really train every day. Okay, you train every day, but do you still got what you got when you won your first world title? No. To me, you're a completely different fighter. You feel what I'm saying? So if that's the case, you just need to go ahead and hang that shit up, brother. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to get no big world title. You're not winning no world title at 140. Not right now. You're not beating no Subriel. You're not beating no Gary Antoine Russell. You definitely not beating the Teofimo Lopez. And you're not beating what's the one guy I'm missing? You're not beating Richardson Hitchens either. So you're talking about you want a big money fight, and you're not gonna fight no Cornell Moulton. You're not gonna fight no Emiliano Vargas. But what other options do you have, brother? Because to be honest with you, you're not on any champions list. Regis is at a point right now that even though he beat JoJo Diaz, bro, your best option is to be like a gatekeeper for top contenders, bro. Just keep it 1,000. What else is there for Regis to do? The best options for you at 140 right now, and I know you ain't going up to 47. Regis has always been scary about going to 147, and I understand why. You too small. But at 140, what's there? Tito Mercado? I would like to see that. Tito Mercado versus Regis Prograis. Why not? Fuck it. Give him an opportunity. That's the type of fight Tito Mercado need to get to the top of the division. 2 power punchers, strong, aggressive. That'll be an action-packed fight. Who else is there for him? Keep it like what champion's gonna give him an opportunity? Nobody. Hitchens might move up. Hitchens might move up to 47 and try to get a Devin Haney fight. From the shit he been popping, you know, he talking about unifying the belts as well. He said that he want to try to make a Subriel fight happen now that there's no rehydration clause, and he looking to fight Teofimo Lopez in New York. That's his Richardson Hitchens. Tio, we don't know what he doing. We don't know what he doing. He be in La La Land, but I know one thing for sure: he not gonna fight you. He not gonna fight you for what? Not getting nothing out of fighting you. Niggas ain't getting a bag. Niggas ain't winning a title. What are you talking about? You want big money fights. What big money fight is open for you right now? Only people Regis should fight are washed or retired. I can see Jose Ramirez or Pedraza next. Anonymous, those are both solid fights. You know what I mean? Considering the stage of their career that they're in, especially the Ramirez fight, I wouldn't mind seeing that. That'll be a good opening bout on a packed card. You know what I mean? Like a good co-main or a good opening bout. You know what I mean? The bout before the co-main. That'll be a solid joint. But, you know, for some reason, they've always had trouble making that fight happen. I don't know if it's Jose Ramirez side. I don't know if it's Regis side. But historically, they have not done so well with agreeing, you know, to fight each other. But, you know, those are good fights. But he's saying big money fights. Big money fights. Eddie Hearn might cut the check to put Tito Mercado in position. It's possible. You know, that's what Tito Mercado is doing right now. He's ranked number 14 in the IBF. He got to make some examples out of niggas so he could keep climbing up the rankings. Regis might be there. He might be there for him. That's what's gonna happen with Regis. He gonna end up getting lined with a top contender and get beaten to retirement, bro. Hey, man. That's how that should be, Anonymous. You know, these guys, I think a lot of them struggle with the idea of not having it anymore, especially when they were, you know, snapping in the beginning of their career. Like when Regis came on the scene, he was nice. He was solid. He actually was a bit elusive. And then I think as he got a little bit older, he just slowly became relying on his power. But when he was on a come up, he was sharp. And he was the man. He was being avoided by guys and I don't know all types of stuff. And he had that like boogeyman persona at one point, especially prior to the Josh Taylor fight. Then, you know, he started slipping. You know, for you to be like at the top of the division, and then all of a sudden within a couple fights, you're not really looking the same anymore with your balance, your legs not underneath you. That's the first sign of a shot fighter. Then you showing. Your punch resistance seemed to be going down the drain as well. You always seem to have a sturdy chin. You know what I mean? I seen you take some big shots from Josh Taylor. He ain't no pillow puncher in his prime. So you go from that to getting cracked by 130, like a natural 130 pounder, and JoJo Diaz, and you get, you know what I mean? You doing a motherfucking electric slide in that motherfucker. So it's like, all right, bro, you showing a lot of signs that's starting to become concerning. But Regis doesn't want to deal with the idea that he no longer has it, that he's on a decline. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell with interviews. I seen him on Mill City talking about how, you know, like he still got it. He's still keeping up with the young dudes. When old niggas start saying shit, when old niggas start telling themselves that they could keep up with the young dudes and shit like that, that's to boost their self-esteem. You know what I mean? They say that shit, man. Man, you know, I'll be keeping. I know I'm this old, but you know, I'm just trying to keep it. You know, I can keep up with all the young dudes. They can't keep up with me. Like when they doing that, that's to boost their ego. And to be honest with you, a lot of times they do that as them trying to show like they overcompensating, like they trying to make it seem like they secure with themselves when they really not. They know in the back of their head they can't keep up with them young niggas, but they say it to make themselves feel good. You feel what I mean? It was almost like them fat niggas who, yeah, man, I'm fat, but don't get it fucked up, man. I'm fast. No, I'm fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, stop trying to make it seem like you a different fat nigga, but you still a fat nigga. Like Regis, you trying to make it seem like you older, but you still got it, but you don't got it no more. You old. Steer Hook said, yo, Mazuma, thoughts on Dillian White? He looking ready for his next fight. Fuck him. That's my thoughts on him. Next. I feel JoJo wears gloves one size up. His gloves always look bigger than usual. Well, I highly doubt that they're more than 8 ounces. You know, would it really, you know, I could give you 3 pairs of 8-ounce gloves and they all look different. One could look significantly smaller than the other. You could put more weight on the wrist. You could put more weight, you know, at the top of the glove. Then you got some that you could put that they're evenly distributed. So I highly doubt he got 10-ounce gloves on in a 140-pound contest. That wouldn't even make sense. I don't even think that's allowed. Boxing International NYC says, where you heard Keith versus Ortiz at? Because I heard they reaching out to EJ for the fight. Well, it was a source on Twitter that put that out there. Dan the Boxing Man had put that out. So if you go on, I'll share it again for y'all to see. But Dan the Boxing Man had put it up on his social media. He cited a source that I believe is a boxing reporter. You see what I'm saying? So this was 2 hours ago. Let me go ahead and share this for y'all to see real quick, just for y'all to double back. If y'all just came into the building, this is it right here. That's it. If the screen is black right now, you know what I mean, just give it some time to process. There you go. So there it is. Oh wait, who said that again? Boxing International. There it is right there. And I can read the caption for you. It says, Keith Thurman versus Vergil Ortiz and Frank Martin versus Arnold Barboza are in the works for a date in October. It will be a PBC versus Golden Boy Promotions event if all is finalized. The credit, Julian is Julius. You know what I mean? I'm assuming this is a boxing reporter, a Hispanic boxing reporter, but I'm unsure. But I doubt that Dan the Boxing Man will put this up if he didn't trust the source, or if the source is just some random. You know what I mean? But that's what it is. Hold on, let me mute this shit real quick. Puerto Ricans blast the music outside. Fuck around, get copyrighted. You already know how they be. YouTube be watching me, trying to find a reason to take money from me. Out of Palaces, I seen Pitbull and Matias is what they pushing for. I don't know though. Well, that's strange because let me actually pull this up on Ring Magazine. Let's pull this up on Ring Magazine's website. Because I seen for November 22nd. By the way, I hope Moses absolutely sparks Dillian White. Just wanted to throw that in there. I really hope he beats the dog shit out of Dillian White. He do not deserve to be on that platform competing at a high level at all. It's very frustrating. But let me actually share this for y'all. So people talking about Eastside Cruz versus Subriel Matias. I get it. Subriel is a WBC champion, and I think Eastside Cruz has a WBC interim. So, you know, realistically speaking, he could be Subriel Matias is mandatory in the future. If that's the case, I love the fight. I actually favor Subriel in that one. I think that's going to be the first time we see Eastside Cruz go on that back foot. I think he's gonna get his ass whooped because you know what it is about Eastside Cruz. Eastside Cruz is used to, you know, putting this pressure on guys and, you know, them having trouble with him because he's a smaller guy. He, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't really like to fight shorter fighters and stuff like that. And he got some power, you know what I mean? And all he knows is go. But Subriel with that bullshit. He with that bullshit, I'm telling you. So when Subriel start putting them hands on Eastside Cruz, we're gonna see where his dog at, because it's all cool when you punching on niggas who, you know, okay with going backwards and shit. But when you got a nigga in there that's just as aggressive as you and refuses to take a back step, we gonna see what you cut like. We gonna see what you cut like. I'm telling you, I like Subriel a lot in that fight, bro. Eastside Cruz be getting real fat in between fights. Subriel gonna see what that body like. They're not finna fight right now, but you know, people been speculating about. They've been speculating about Subriel. Yeah, if he get pushed back, it's a wrap because Eastside Cruz don't know nothing about fighting backwards. He gonna take punishment too. But anyways, the Ring Magazine has Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith up for a confirmed fight. This little nigga cracking the fuck up next door. But anyways, this is the fight. This is the fight that's confirmed on Ring Magazine right now. So I think this is stamped, y'all. This is a fight that's stamped for November 22nd. So, you know, they say it's Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith. Then after that, you know what I mean? It's possible that, you know, a Puello rematch is going to take place. If that's the case, I don't see where Eastside Cruz gets that opportunity anytime soon unless that's going down in like mid to late 2026. You feel me? Yeah, that's Davis' card. So this card is going to be the shit. Holy fuck. November 22nd is going to be so lit. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull that back up. This is Ring Magazine's website for those y'all who don't know. So you got David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, Norman Haney, Mason Noakes, Rodriguez versus Martinez. Good fucking fight. Jesse Rodriguez versus Fernando Daniel Martinez. Then, shit, I lost it. All right, let me go back to it. My fault. Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias, bro. Great card. Abdullah, Bam, Norman, Haney, Benavidez, and Matias on the same card. God damn. They snapped on this one, man. I would have liked to have seen Boots on this card, but you know, Turkey don't do charity. You know what I mean, he don't do tune-ups. Not for Boots. No. Maybe Joshua. Yeah. But I mean, that's a different discussion. Who you got, Matias or Gary Antoine? Jesus Christ, that's a good fight. I don't know. I can see both of them winning, bro. Anonymous, I think you said something earlier about Frank Martin training with Buddy McGurk. I did see him speaking about that, but he said that he was working with like some Hispanic dude. I forgot the dude's name. I know it was a Hispanic name. And then he said that, you know, he's going to be working with Buddy McGurk as well. And once they get a fight date or whatever, they're going to, you know, bring Buddy McGurk in. You know, that's what he want to do. That's what he want to do. You feel me? Buddy McGurk done been around for a while. He was a good fighter himself, solid coach. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly how well their styles are meshed together, but, you know, Buddy McGurk, no, he's a name. So we'll see. We'll see exactly what Buddy McGurk adds to Frank Martin's game. You feel me? T says, so Yarde gave Beterbiev a tough fight. How'd you think he does with El Monstro? Well, this is a different style that Anthony Yarde is going up against. So this is what I think is going to happen. That's a great question. So I think the reason why he had success with Beterbiev because he was a more athletic fighter than Beterbiev. And Beterbiev, for the most part, is there to be hit. You know what I mean? Like, Beterbiev ain't nobody I ever looked at and be like, oh, he got good defense. And Benavidez ain't got like the craziest defense neither, but what I can say is that he's rangier than Beterbiev. He throws more punches than Beterbiev, and he's faster than Beterbiev. You feel me? I think that's safe to say in terms of hand speed. I could see, you know, it being a chess match in the beginning. You know what I mean? Benavidez trying to figure him out and stuff like that. But I think Anthony Yarde is going to have a really tough time dealing with Benavidez's jab. You know, when I'm watching Anthony Yarde perform, and I don't know if this is a UK thing or what, because I was watching Sam Noakes, and I'm like, yo, Sam Noakes is only ever really effective in close range. When I'm watching Anthony Yarde got very little upper body movement. You could tell he's strong as fuck. He athletic, explosive. You know what I mean? He could punch, all that good stuff. He got some good qualities. But I've never really seen Anthony Yarde do too well, you know, at long range or even and he's not that effective at mid-range neither. When I'm really seeing Anthony Yarde beat on niggas is when he like in close quarters with these guys. He's just brutalizing them. You feel me? So I think Benavidez's jab is going to give Anthony Yarde some issues. I think the combination punching is going to give Anthony Yarde some issues. And another thing that I've noticed about Anthony Yarde is doesn't have the best conditioning. He definitely gasses out. And Anthony Yarde, one of them dudes that when he gets fatigued, he's there to be he's there to be hit. And with somebody like David Benavidez, he's not the biggest puncher at 75, obviously, but the hand speed, the combination punching, and the volume is there. I could really see Benavidez stopping Anthony Yarde. I could see it. Not by like one punch, but I'm talking like beat his ass type situation in the late rounds, probably 10, 11. You feel me? But, David Benavidez got to be careful. He can't get too reckless because he can at times, especially when, he's attempting to be, aggressive in the ring. I could really see David Benavidez taking them to them later rounds where Anthony Yarde isn't really that. You could tell Anthony Yarde don't really want to go through them later rounds. You can tell by how the way his stamina set up. You know what I mean? I can see David Benavidez taking them 10, 11, 12 and beating him bad. And if he don't get stopped by like the referee or whatever the case is, I can see his corner stopping it. I can really see that happening. You feel me? So I think this is a great fight, though. Benavidez, he gotta be wary of Anthony Yarde's power and shit like that. But David Benavidez done been rocked and continue showing that dog, continue bringing the fight. So Benavidez is a fucking warrior, dog. Like he's a dog. He ain't nobody you about to just be, having your way with in the ring. You feel me? So I'm really looking forward to that, bro. I've been waiting to see Benavidez on a turkey card for a while now. He definitely deserves those opportunities, and hopefully after this fight with Anthony Yarde, if he's successful, he could get that big fight with a Dimitri Bivol, or it better be because for real, I think that'll take Benavidez to a new level. I think that's when we're going to really see how good Benavidez is. Go 787 said if Yarde sparks Benavidez, that would be crazy, man. But I could see it, though. Benavidez leaves openers. I mean, I hear you. He definitely leaves openers. But Anthony Yarde does, too. I think that Benavidez could keep him at – I think Benavidez could be very effective with his jab this fight. I know Benavidez likes to, he likes to go to full length in terms of like he goes all out. Like he wants to brutalize you. He wanna whoop your ass. But if Benavidez if he wanted to keep it simple and just keep the jab on him, I think he can. I think Yarde will have a tough time getting past Benavidez's jab if he uses it consistently throughout the fight. Like how the way Andre Ward was teaching him when Andre Ward did that interview with Benavidez and they was in the ring talking. He was like, Ward was like, yo, bro, like you got a good jab. You got to use him more. Everything comes off of his hand. Everything. He was like, oh, bop, 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 bop. And then he was going through the pad work in the ring. And you could see Benavidez using that jab. And Benavidez got an underrated jab. Anonymous, I agree with you. He definitely should go to the body. The earlier he goes to the body, I think the earlier he could stop Anthony Yarde, but I wouldn't just jump straight to it and start doing the body shots because Anthony Yarde, like most punchers, early on in the fight, that's when they're the most dangerous. You feel me? But as the fight wears down a little bit, like 6, 7, he should definitely start putting the body shots together. And what makes Benavidez a nasty body puncher is he puts those shots in the right spots that could really break a fighter down. Very precise body puncher, and that's a really good tool to have. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Because initially I was thinking like, damn, Anthony Yarde, this might be a problem for Benavidez, right? And of course, it may be a problem for Benavidez. But I was watching Anthony Yarde, his London Arthur fights and stuff like that. I'm like, Anthony Yarde really has his best moments when he's at close range. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he really, really beats on guys once he closes the gap. So if you prevent him from closing the gap, how effective will he be? You know what I mean? So I think, like I said, I highly doubt Benavidez will take the simple route going into this fight. That's just how the way his style cut. You know what I mean? He want to fuck you up. He want to beat your ass type shit, right? Cool. We know that. But I think that if he really wanted to make it simple, his jab could win him this fight. I've seen Benavidez jab. It's a good fucking jab. And I think that it'll really prevent Anthony Yarde from being effective, because I feel like he's most effective when he gets in close quarters, inside work, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? You take that away from him, I can't see him boxing Benavidez from the outside. I just don't see that happening. That's just not how his style cut. I think Matias gonna fuck Dalton up bad. That's what I think. I was watching Dalton fight a little bit, and I'm like, all right, like he's all right, like he's solid. You feel me? But I wasn't like blown away at all. You feel me? Like, seeing nothing, I'm like, oh shit, this may really be a problem for. Like, this is a step down for real. Like, I think Puello beats Dalton. I think Puello beats him. And then the thing about Dalton, too, is, like, he don't mind. Like, he'll use some movement here and there. But, like, he got to settle his feet down to be effective offensively. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if he could be on his bicycle for 12 rounds and then, you know, have his way with Subriel. I don't see that shit happening, bro. Like, I could see him, like, I could see Subriel walking to him and, you know, him throwing some shots at Subriel. Subriel might get hit with a shot here and there. But once Subriel starts putting them punches together, I could see Dalton getting up out of there. Hey, man. Listen, if I'm Subriel, I ain't complaining. Dalton Smith, I know that's the fight we don't really care to see. And this is just Turkey showing bias and, you know, just doing whatever the fuck he want to do. But if Subriel want to get a good little title defense, you know, why not? But yeah, I'm watching Dalton right now. He could box a little bit. You know what I mean? He likes to be aggressive though. Like, Dalton moves and shit, but he likes to catch and counter. You know what I mean? He throws 2 punches at a time most of the time. You know what I mean? But he has he doesn't have a style where he like moves around too much. You know what I mean? So I don't know what he really does to throw off Subriel, to be honest with you. I don't see anything he does to throw Subriel off. And when he's punching on these, I'm seeing him punching on some dude named Waleed Ayoza or some shit like that. You know, no disrespect to Waleed or whatever his name is, but he ain't no Subriel. And he looked like he's straight up and down. He looks trash, to be honest with you. Let me go take another look at the fight. Let's take another look at one of Dalton Smith's fights. Because he look like he just punching on Dalton Smith versus Jose Cepeda. All right, let's watch this real quick. Jose Cepeda, he's a solid fighter. I mean, nothing crazy. Not no world championship fighter or anything like that, but solid contender, I guess you would say. Destroyed Jose Vargas's career. Know that. Cepeda definitely used to be nice. So I'm seeing Cepeda put pressure on Dalton. Dalton using a lot of L steps. You know what I mean? Solid foundation look like he got. He's a sound boxer. That's what I see out of Dalton. Ooh, I just picked up something on Dalton. I just picked up something on Dalton now. He don't like going to his left. But Subriel ain't a southpaw, but he looked uncomfortable going to his left. He go. It's a lot easier for him to go to his right. But go ahead and go to your right against Subriel. See if you don't run into a hook, nigga. Yeah, he don't look comfortable going to his left. You can see. But yeah, I don't really see nothing as Dalton. I'm not trying to overlook him, but I don't really see anything that's a cause for concern. But anyways, shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. Out of Pal says that day Matias unalived that dude. My cousin was scheduled to fight someone. They took him out of the fight and replaced Matias and a dude he unalived. If they didn't replace my cousin, that dude would be alive. Yeah, good. I mean, I see some holes already. See, that boxing shit is cool until a nigga ain't going for that boxing shit. I'm telling you. When Subriel started putting that pressure on him and he throwing these shots and Subriel not phased and Subriel ripping shots to the body and he just systematic, like he getting stronger as the rounds going, that could be very discouraging. That could be very discouraging. Yeah, I don't really see anybody on. I don't see anybody on Dalton Smith's resume that reassures me that he could beat a Subriel. Motherfucker ain't never even fought outside of the UK, bro. He's never fought outside of the UK. He fought. Wow. So he fought in Italy once, but besides that, it's been all UK work. Oh, I'm sorry. Then he fought one time in Austria. Sorry. This motherfucker ain't never been outside of the UK, Italy, or Austria. Okay. Yo, that was a wild comment. I ain't gonna lie. Let me see. Yeah, he hasn't fought nowhere near like he. See, I'm really. I think like this era, bro. A lot of motherfuckers, they just skipping the line, bro. Like I swear, like before you fought for a world title, it's like you had to beat like some former world champions or beat like a top contender in your division. Like, bro, like they skipping the line now. Like these niggas ain't they doing half the work and still getting to the world title shots. And then when they get their ass whooped, stop, beat up, whatever, it was like, oh man, you know, hey, he should never been in the ring with that guy. Well, yeah. We know that. Did Marky Dan leave, avoiding the smoke? He ain't say shit since I called him out, I think. I'm like, yo, bro, you gonna apologize? You gonna eat crow for that Sanders shit? He ain't say a motherfucking word. I don't like that. Cause you already know how I give it up, bro. Like if I'm wrong about some shit, I say it. I done been wrong multiple times on this platform, bro. And I ain't never run. What is there to say that he was wrong? It's called eating crow, brother. You know what I mean? You can't be making all these crazy ass statements like, "Oh, he gonna rip the back pockets off Xander," which I still don't know what that means to this day. He about to beat Xander, about to get beat half to death. That shit that he be saying all the time. And then Xander go ahead and put on a great display of boxing, and this nigga ain't nowhere to be found. Like, how that work? I'm not making statements like that, and then after that, you know what I mean? I'm hiding my hand and shit like that. I'll be like, bro, I was totally wrong. It is what it is. Salute. Damn, Coffee Plan be having motherfuckers in their feelings, bro. That's crazy. Marky Dan do got a wrench, right? I'm scrolling up right now to see. Where he at? I don't see this nigga now. Where he at? Trying to find him. Slime in the building. I ain't even see Slime. I don't even see Marky Dan anymore. Unless I'm skipping past his name. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, we know Coffee. Yeah. Coffee, Ralph, Anonymous. Niggas be drawn. Who does somebody say some nut shit? Yeah. Nigga. What? You gotta let me know on the side, brother. You gotta hit me up, nigga. You gotta hit me up personally for that type of info. You probably put me on something I don't even know. You ain't got my personal info though, because you just be in the chat. I need to know what you talking about, bro. But anyways, let's close out with some open boxing topics before I take my ass to sleep. You know what I mean? Anything that people want to talk about before it's all said and done? Boxing is kind of slow. You know what I mean? I don't think there's gonna be any big fights until Canelo Bud. So we just gonna have to be rocking out. We might have to do like some. We gonna have to do some like boxing questions to keep the people intrigued. Like, well, we'll come up with some shit. We'll come up with some shit. So, Vergil versus Zayas, what's up? I like the fight. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing the fight. But me personally, I feel like Xander's not going to be at 54 too much longer. That weight cut looked kind of bad. I told y'all before the weigh-in that he seemed pretty concerned about his weight. Then when he came in looking weight drained like that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Him doing a quick turnaround to do a title defense in December, I'm not going to say that that's odd, but that is kind of a quick turnaround for Top Rank to do. So I think that, and I've heard people say this, I think Go787 said it in the chat before, that he's going to do that title defense in December, then he moving up to 60. That's what I heard. And for some reason, something just tells me that that's something that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I mean, it's speculation. There ain't nothing confirmed. But something just tells me he won't be at 54 much longer. He a big motherfucker, bro. Well, December in Puerto Rico is basically stamped, bro. Like Xander said it. He already had some inside information. He was like, yeah. As soon as he got the fight done, he was like, yeah, we back in December. Then Bob Arum told him, yo, I promise you people that your first title defense is going to be in Puerto Rico. Put 2 and 2 together. And I'm pretty good with these things. Like I said, I remember YSM had did an interview with me years ago. He was like, what do you see happening? Like, do you think Boost gets those opportunities against Bud and, Spence? I'm like, well, this is what I think going to happen. I think Bud and Spence going to fight each other. Whoever wins, they're going to end up vacating and moving up in weight. I think I said both of them going to move up in weight after they fight each other. That's exactly what happened. Because Earl, if he is coming back, he definitely not coming back to 47. Bud, he moved up immediately. You saw what I'm saying? And then I said Boots will end up fighting for a vacant title. Now, he didn't fight for a vacant title. He was elevated to the champion after having the IBF interim. But regardless, what I said was pretty much spot on. So I personally believe that Xander Zayas is going to do that title defense in December, probably against Santillan. Puerto Rico versus Mexico and Puerto Rico, right? Fuck around, beat the dog shit out of Santillan. Because stylistically, Santillan's all wrong for Xander. He too fucking small for Xander. Then he'll make his debut at middleweight and go from there. And something tells me John Beck might move up to 68. And Xander won't have anything to worry about. Let me see. R3, I already had spoke on it. I spoke on it on the very beginning of this live. Thoughts on Beterbiev and Najee Lopez. Like I was saying, I'll just reiterate what I wrote briefly. Not what I wrote, what I said briefly. I think that Beterbiev is looking at this like a tune-up. Najee Lopez, he's currently 14-0 with 11 knockouts, high knockout ratio, undefeated. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's tough to say that Najee's even a contender at this point at light heavyweight. He hasn't fought any notable names as far as I'm concerned. I seen Brian Norman back and I'm talking about y'all gonna learn something about the South. So, because apparently Najee Lopez he's Puerto Rican, but apparently he's from Georgia. So Brian Norman's backing his player, whatever the case is. He's supporting his fellow Georgia brother. But, Beterbiev for Nazi Lopez to not fight any notable contenders, no notable names whatsoever, and just jump right into a fight with a top light heavyweight in the world. I think that's very dangerous. I think that's a not so smart move. That's not calculated at all. And this is the type of shit that could derail a promising prospect / contender early on in their career. I hope that that's something that doesn't happen, but if it does, I don't really see it going too well for Najee, bro. Unless Beterbiev just got old as fuck overnight. I don't see how Najee Lopez wins this fight. You know what I mean? Like I said, this is the era where motherfuckers just skipping the line now. I don't know. And if that fight were to happen, if this is a fight that's backed by Turki Al-Sheikh, here goes another contradiction on Turki Al-Sheikh's part, because you said you don't do charities. You say you're not a charity. You don't do tune-up fights. That's obviously been proven to be bullshit, but that'll just be another instance of you being a fucking liar, right? They should give Najee Lopez a Joshua Buatsi instead of Beterbiev. That'll be more fair for Najee Lopez, but I even think that's a little bit too far for Najee right now. You said Germany, no, Russia, Ralph. It's funny, when I was younger, I used to get Germany and Russia like mixed up too. That's funny as shit. Go said, can you read my last comment? Let me see. Where is that? Are you saying I told you, Mark, the reason he fighting in December is because wait, if not, he might move up. Is that the one? Is that the one you referring to, bro? Oh. Do you think Opatai would jump first to heavyweight, or Usyk come down first to make the fight happen? I mean, I don't even think that fight's gonna happen anyway. I think Usyk probably gonna fight one more and then he done. Which I would like to see it be Joseph Parker, but I don't fucking know. Even though, Turkey was talking about he wasn't interested in making that fight happen. Why the fuck not? Why not? See, Turkey might be salty about Joseph Parker for real. Because for one, he thought Joseph Parker was a tuner for Wilder. And he tuned Wilder the fuck up, right? So he fucked up one of your plans, right? So then Joseph Parker, Dubois, that fight was supposed to happen. Dubois got sick. He had to pull out, blah, blah. So Turkey tried to send his big dog, Bacoli, on. He tried to stick his big dog, Bacoli, on Joseph Parker on 24 hours notice, and that shit ain't work out. So Joseph Parker had fucked up one of his plans for one, and then beat the shit out of one of his dogs, one of his favorites, shortly afterwards. So he probably like, man, fuck this nigga Joseph Parker, bro. He don't even want to give me my opportunity for real, which is fucked up. Because I don't think anybody at heavyweight deserving more than Joseph Parker right now. But I don't know, man. For some reason, Turkey feels like Moses versus Usyk makes more sense than Parker versus Usyk. I don't know how you could justify that, but, it is what it is. But to answer your question, goes if that fight were to happen between Opatai and Usyk, I'm assuming Opatai will go up. Usyk proved himself. Why the fuck he got to go down to fight Opatai? Unless Usyk is willing to do so, I just don't see why Usyk got to make the move. He the big dog. You want to come see me? Come see me then. That's how I look at it. Dang, so we won't get David versus Bivol Beterbiev winner until fall 2026. Maybe. I think that it's going to be – I don't see Beterbiev fighting Benavidez. I think it's going to be Bivol Benavidez. And let's see if the trilogy actually happens. Who knows? It might not even happen. G Tatted Up TV said, what do you think about, shout out to G Tatted Up, by the way. He says, what do you think about Wilder and his second run he has planned? Very dangerous because I was a huge Wilder fan. I still rock with Deontay Wilder to this day. You know what I mean? No pun intended. But I can't help but notice that Deontay Wilder is not the same. It seems like obviously Deontay Wilder has power. He just got a knockout in his last fight. However, he don't look like he got the same explosiveness that he used to. It looks like his balance is a bit off. His punch resistance ain't all the way there. You know, his last opponent wasn't really able to get to him in terms of landing a big flush shot. But I've seen in previous fights how he doesn't respond well to getting hit. It's like his body language changes up. He's all over the place. And it's almost like he's gun shy in a sense. He don't really turn his right hand over how he used to. And that was his bread and butter. That was the main reason why he was winning. So this second run for Deontay Wilder could be very dangerous. But I think he understands that it's not so smart to jump into a dangerous fight right now. And that's why he's trying to take his time. But Wilder's trying to do right now is trying to gain his footing back. You know what I mean? He's under the impression that he's performing the way he's performing because of inactivity and stuff like that. So he's trying to get active, get some wins under his belt and stuff like that. But I think what Wilder doesn't want to admit, in all honesty, is that he's taken a lot of damage in those 3 fights with Tyson Fury, and he hasn't been the same since. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think of the whole situation. I fuck with Wilder. I love what he brought. I love what he brings to the game. I think in his prime, if Wilder was still in his prime right now, I think a lot of motherfuckers wouldn't be able to fuck with Wilder. Wilder was just different, bro. He was a different. And oh man, he ain't got no skills. Nigga, he didn't need to. He didn't need to have skills. That's how gifted he was. He went against the grain in every way and still was able to have 10 title defenses, bro. That's Hall of Famer shit right there. But, you know, I wish him the best of luck, man, but I don't really see Wilder getting back in title contention, man. I don't. Is Oscar finally ready to cash Ryan out? Yes, I believe so. You know, I think that Oscar understands that Ryan Garcia, pretty much like his profile is down the drain. And let's keep it real. Oscar done been made his money back on Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? With those couple big fights that he done been in with the Gervonta Davis and the Devin Haney's and the Rolly Romero's. I think those 3 fights alone, Golden Boy already done recouped. You know, their return on investment. You feel what I mean? So at this point, from what I understand, Ryan Garcia only has 1 more fight left with Golden Boy. So Golden Boy on some shit where it's like, oh, you've disrespected us constantly. You saying that you want to be done with this deal. Okay, so what we're going to do is, since you want to walk away from us after all we done in your career, we're going to make sure you leave this bitch with a loss. And according to Ryan Garcia, De La Hoya been plotting on him to lose. Ryan was going around saying that Oscar thought Duarte was going to beat him. Yeah, he definitely don't care about Ryan, but it's clear that Ryan don't give a fuck about Golden Boy. You feel me? Because you got to think about it from a promoter's aspect. You built this kid up from the very beginning, from his pro debut all the way to who he is now. And after all the sacrifices, all the money being put up, every move that you'd have made to put him in position to be not a world champion, of course, but a big name in the sport of boxing, all of a sudden he want to tell you fuck you and that he no longer want to deal with you. Okay, nigga. I ain't really tripping because I done made my money back with you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that before you leave this bitch, your stock ain't gonna be the same. So let's go ahead and match you up with somebody that we think has a high probability of beating you because we don't want you to walk away benefiting from leaving us. We want you to be damaged before you leave us. Sounds fucked up, but that's how the game goes sometimes. And I remember Floyd had a great quote about that shit, bro. He had a great quote about like how the way promoters do fighters when they know they're about to walk out the door and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to find that sometime, but yeah. To answer your question, Anonymous, yeah, Oscar is definitely gonna catch. He's gonna attempt to cash Ryan Garcia out before it's all said and done. And T.O. would definitely beat Ryan, especially that last Ryan we saw. He could be delusional and be like, oh, you know, I had a horrible training camp. It's just a terrible nigga. If you a killer, you a killer. It don't matter where you at, dog. Our audience shouldn't. You blame the audience because you perform like shit, bro. Bro, if you a real killer, bro, you performing the same whether you in the Madison Square Garden or you rumbling in somebody motherfucking kitchen. What are we talking about? Like what? Let me see. Ghost got another question. I got you, brother. Ain't nobody gonna talk crazy. Wait. Where is that? Your comments begin. Oh, wait. What the fuck? I can't see it. Can you answer my last question? Okay. The last thing you wrote. You're gonna have to type it again, brother, because I don't see it. I literally do not see it. So you're gonna have to type it again. My fault, brother. But as soon as you type it, I'll be able to I'll answer it right away. I answered the Opatai one already. He said it wasn't that one. So I don't know. But you're gonna have to type it again, brother. My apologies. Let me see. What y'all laughing at? Yeah, I'm not. And if T.O. beat the shit out of Ryan, I ain't rooting for neither one of them. For real. I'll watch, but I ain't rooting for neither one of them. Like if T.O. was to get sparked, I'll be happy. If Ryan get his ass whooped, I'll be happy. I hope it's a no contest if they fight. I hope neither one of them get credit. He said, Coffee saying the battle of the races. I mean, that's a fact. They've historically both proven to be racist. We got Ryan talking about he's a part of a domestic terrorist organization that's plagued the black community for years. And, you know, talking about George Floyd. See, like, real racists, they always seem to bring up George Floyd because they loved what happened to George Floyd. Your comments deleting. What you mean? Go send it in the Cash App. If you can't get it on here, send it in the Cash App. Even if it's like $1, just send it. I'll answer it, bro. Or just send it on social media. If you got me on Instagram or whatever, I'll answer it, brother. Just let me know. Yeah, bro. They always, and then you know, T.O. Man, I can't be racist because it's only one race and that's the human race. Man, shut the hell up. Shut up. So if that's the case, why you was running around talking about Tyrek and keep they black fighters? If it's just one race and it's the human race, why you went out of your way to talk about black fighters? If you truly feel like everybody's all the same and they're like you don't see color, why you felt the need to talk about black fighters in particular? Yeah. That's a quote from T.O. Sr. But you know what's crazy? Racist typically get racist people typically their karma is usually their loved ones or sisters, brothers nephews, they like daughters, whatever. Their daughters typically end up loving the people that they hate. Ain't that some shit? Racists typically get awarded with a daughter that loves BBC. Ain't that something? You want to be a racist, you get rewarded with a black grandchild. Damn. Yeah, like Hulk Hogan, exactly. Motherfucker ain't get a RIP from me. Shit. Yep, that's typically how it go, man. So niggas gotta tighten up out here. Sent it through Instagram. All right, bet. All right, let's take a look. All right, cool. So this is Ghost comment. Oh, this is you the whole time, brother. Let me go ahead and follow you back. I didn't know that was you. But because you ain't put that as your name on Instagram. Anyways, he says, yo, Fundora manager said he won't ever allow him to fight Xander because he's too big, basically. And if Fundora don't like it, he could sign elsewhere. I tagged you on it on X so you could watch it later. He had a lot of excuses that you will cook him for. Are you serious? He said that? Get the fuck out of here. Hold up. When you tag me in that Ghost, I need to see this. Ain't no way. Where you tag me that in? I ain't see it. It ain't in my mentions. Ain't no way. Yeah, tag me again, brother. I appreciate that. Bro, that's like, if that don't confirm that a nigga's a duck, man, you ain't fighting that nigga because he too, man, I don't look, man, Xander, he too big for you, man. No, we ain't making that fight, man. And if you don't like it, you go sign somewhere else. Like, what? Who said that? Samson? Something tells me that was Samson. That is like the biggest duck shit that I done ever heard. Like, yo, why are people, and I know this ain't height classes or nothing like that, bro. You're literally 6'6". Hold on. Yeah, of course this is fucking Samson Lukowitz.
Triunfo de Fundora. Me encantó ver ahí a los hermanos. Ahora están con Suleiman, tengo entendido, tanto Gabriela como.
This Spanish, so people not really gonna understand it.
Y sí, escúchame, se lo merecen. Es una familia hermosa, dedicada al boxeo, aman el deporte, son respetuosos, ejemplos para todos los boxeadores.
Bien, Samson peleó Sayas, obviamente lo que se pueda saber, habló ahí, hizo una declaración que quizás generó un poquito de ruido, quiero escuchar tu versión, a ver qué es lo que pasó. Él dijo que el combate no se dio, es lo que dijo él, porque el equipo de Fundora no quiso, que habían exigido una cláusula de rehidratación y que él no estaba...
So the dude's asking him right now is to recall the whole situation that happened with Xander Zayas. In terms of like why the fight didn't happen. You know, Xander recited like the rehydration clause, and he didn't agree with it.
Sí, no, dijo la mitad de la verdad y se guardó la otra mitad.
Samson said that pretty much Xander only told half of the truth and he kept the other half to himself.
Es cierto que le pedimos renovación de...
It's true that they asked for a rehydration clause,
Sí, si hacemos un...
a 10-pound rehydration clause. So Sebastian Fundor's team requested a 10-pound rehydration clause as if this is the fucking IBF. So he couldn't come in no more than 164. Interesting.
Lo de la Federación Internacional de Boxeo son 10 libras, que son más o menos 5 kilos. Y después puede ir un poquito más. Porque no es una pelea mandatoria, es una pelea...
It's not a mandatory fight, it's a unification fight.
O era mandatoria, perdón, era mandatoria. Claro,
Oh, it wasn't, but it was a mandatory. I was about to say it is a mandatory.
Se le pidió eso y nunca contestó. Lo que él quería era ganar más mandatoria, perdón, era mandatoria.
He said they requested it and Xander never responded to them. Of course he wouldn't.
Sí, por la OMB. Entonces se le pidió eso y nunca contestó. Lo que él quería era ganar más dinero que el propio Fundora. Esa parte
and that he wanted to make more money than Fundora himself.
La dijo. Y por eso mismo esa pelea no va a pasar. Porque él quiso...
So he said the fight wasn't going to happen because he didn't agree to the 10-pound rehydration clause and that because he was asking for more money than what Sebastian Fundora was receiving.
Que Sebastián tenía miedo. ¿Miedo de qué? Si es un Serie B. Donde le pongan, ahora le van a poner un boxeador que va a estar al punto de él, que es mucho más chico, y va a volver a ganar, y yo les garantizo.
This nigga is saying that Sebastian Fundora is smaller than Xander.
Que si no es la próxima pelea, la que viene es mandatorio para el peso mediano, porque no puede ser el peso. Fíjate.
He pretty much saying what we saying that wait, he said something along the lines of
y va a volver a ganar y yo les garantizo que si no es la próxima pelea, la que viene es mandatorio.
He's saying that either this fight coming up or Xander's next fight will be at 160 because he's too big for the weight.
Que cómo ellos van a pensar cuando yo hago mis deberes que voy a poner a un boxeador, viste, con una diferencia grandísima de peso. ¿Entiendes? No creo que es correcto. Aparte, viste, con él ganamos un número y con Team Su ganábamos el doble. Y fuera de ganar el doble, que es bueno para el boxeador, se le había prometido. Entonces, cuando él vio que las conversaciones no iban bien, decidió pelear con Benavidez y pedir la promesa que yo hice de que le daba la revancha el día que él quiera, y ese fue el día. Lamentablemente para él, pero es lo que es.
Samson, querido, un saludo acá, no sé si...
So that's Samson for you. Where you sent me a message from, brother? You say your boxing comedy page. Oh, all right, cool. All right. I got you, brother. I just followed you. But yeah, man, listen, that Samson Luca is for you, man. He not about to be taking no unnecessary chances. We seen it happen with Edwin De Los Santos when Keyshawn came in overweight. He seems to be very big on the whole weight issue. Like, he's not gonna let his fighters be at a disadvantage weight-wise without him, saying something about it. You know what I mean? He's not gonna let that shit happen. He don't want to put his fighters in those situations. And it's probably because he's one of the people that believe that weight classes matter and that size matters. And it does to an extent. But at the same time, you got a fucking 6'6", 154. He's been walking around with this crazy advantage for I don't know how long. But the moment that a nigga weighs more than him, it's a problem. I don't know. Shit goofy. For real, for real. He also stated Xander wanted more money than Fundora. I don't know why. Maybe he was just shooting high to try to, get a number that was solid to him, I guess. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. That shit sounded like a duck to me. I know if Boots was saying that shit, niggas would criticize him. But you see, ain't no criticism about Fundora, though. They criticizing Boots for possibly taking a tune-up. Ain't no fucking opponent yet. Possibly a tune-up. He getting criticized. But the moment this nigga Sebastian Fundora tried to slam a 10-pound rehydration clause against an up-and-coming contender in Xander Zayas and ultimately avoid him because he made way too much the night of the fight, nobody criticizing him. It is what it is, man. I'm signing off with that one, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. If you could go ahead and hit the like button, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We won into the 3,100 mark, man. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. I'll be back at y'all with another live to continue pushing the boxing culture forward, man. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that one. Until then, I hope you have a blessed, beautiful night. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.